Why, hello. How's everyone doing today? It is Tuesday. Some interesting stuff happened over the weekend, huh? Do a quick chat about some of that information. I'm gonna try something a little different too. First things first, howdy. Let's have a quick chat about this guy. So it looks like we have yet another, oh, wait, what's that? Do. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I forgot to add music to this scene. Oh, well. So, in typical news fashion, pow. I guess I want to make sure that I point out that we had an issue with SSH again. And if you do have SSH open to the internet on your home server or on your home lab, number one, don't do that. There's far too many better options. Get a VPN, Open VPN, WireGuard, something like that. That's going to be far better for you at the end of the day. But that being said, if you do, I'd recommend closing that port temporarily and at the very least running an update. And so that's what I'm going to start with, actually. Just running a quick little update and kind of leaning into the Ansible script that we've been working on up to this point to show what that's going to look like. So, joke newscast aside, really, OpenVPN, use a VPN if you're using a home lab. It just makes life easier. It is nice to not have to use another application to get to your applications, but it's much nicer to not find out that you're being used as a click farm or that your cluster's mining crypto and you're not aware of it, etc. I would say believe me, but the worst thing that I've ever done is left an Exchange server open to the internet. Whoops. Open relay for the win. All right. Let's go back to our regularly scheduled with music. Do. I think I need a stinger in and a stinger out, don't I? I'm gonna start screwing around with different scenes like that, I think, more often. It's fun. Anyway. So yeah, let's hop over into what did I call this? It's Homelab Ansible, right? Well, I have it open here, right? We'll do that. Hell. Alright, so let's talk real quick about what I've done and why I've done it. We've gone over it. If you were here, you were here. If you weren't, you weren't. But in our common tasks here, was I in common? Hide that. Common. Yeah, common tasks. I just created an update task, and that's going to go out everything with apt that is in the list and attempt to run it. Generally speaking, I run this on Mondays, but today, why not, right? So we want Ansible playback, Inventory. First things first, we're just going to do the lab. Right? Do I have that right? I think I have that right. Yeah, inventory is lab, and we want tags update, because that's all we want to do. Oh, whoops. We got to tell it which one to run, don't we? We're talking about Ansible playbook. Command Ansible pla. The details. We have the attention. And it again isn't going to be able to get to the video guy. But I feel better running this against the lab first, just because anything that's there is, well, it's not that important. I mean, it's important to us, right? We put all this effort into it, but not important in the long term. Where did that go? There we are. So whilst that's running, and like I said, if you have a Homelab and you have it, honestly, if you have a Homelab, you should have an update plan anyway. Just a general time period that you're gonna just go and do the updates. Like I said, for me, it's Mondays. But on top of that, you should also make sure that you're keeping track of things like this, where something that could affect you pops up in the news cycle, and you do something about it as quick as possible, right? So I'm just gonna let that run in the background. I'm not gonna spend the entire time just waiting on this script to run. But in the meantime, we are going to look at something else I got today. I'm gonna have to do it over here real quick though, because I put it in my Google Drive. I said download. There we go. And let's hop over to downloads. There we go. So a while back, I went through a checklist on general security, or not general, but it was on the cyber. Why can't I remember? I'm terrible with names. It is Center for Internet Security checklist. Well, this is another one. This one is a private company, but they give you the option, just, trade them your email address and they'll send you a checklist, things to run through, like as you can see, it looks like it's a modification of CIS. But same sort of idea. It's at the end of the day, it comes down to checklists. So we can look at this, the 8 steps, setting up your baseline, what's trusted, what you know, and working off of that, right? If you need to make a change, you make that change and you update the baseline after going through everything. This, I don't think you have to worry in your Homelab, although I do, like I said, I always check with my snails. Um, the testing portion is something that I do. I don't do a full deployment plan, obviously. My deployment plan is I'm recording it so I can go back and look at it again if I screwed something up too badly. Handle all the changes, handle any recovery. I usually do that with you guys. And then your baseline is updated. And the circle goes around and around. Speaking of the circle, where are we at? Oh, that is taking a while, isn't it? 1, 2, oh, it's Dead Mini 3 that's hanging. I wonder why. We'll have to check the logs, won't we? Or not. All right, where was I? Here. Okay, so this is SimTrack. This is SimCore specific. Generally speaking, when you get a list from a company, they are going to be trying to sell you something, and that's fine. Hey, if they're going to provide you something for free, it's like anything else. YouTube with ads, etc. ad nauseum, right? If a company provides something to you for free, the least you can do is recognize that their name is attached to it, right? So here's a basic hardening checklist. And this really does cover like what you would need to do. Some of them might be, less obvious. The software configuration. Okay, what software? Cloud configuration. What does that mean? But as a baseline checklist, pretty good. Oh, it even lets you check it. That's nice. It is funny though that it ends up being this. They're using CIS because, of course, they are. CIS is a pretty good resource for this, and that's why it's the standard out there, or a standard, not the standard. This one's definitely high level. They're going over like, okay, here's user configuration. Adopt a firm position regarding access and privilege usage. So that's key. Make sure that when you set it up the way that you want it set up, that you stick to it, especially for yourself. One of the worst things you can do is say that you're going to secure a server and then you're going to spend the entire time running as root. It's just not the best idea. Use the tools that are available. Use sudo, use su. You'll notice that I have lately been using root a bit more than I probably should, but when setting up the security, it just makes life easier, because otherwise it's sudo every other command. But a lot of this explains, what I just said. Dealing with default access, administrator accounts, deactivating guest. If you have Windows or Mac, deactivating guest is usually a good idea. One thing I will say though is that if you have your personal laptop and there are kids around, or there's people that might just need a computer for a second, log in, set up a guest account, log them in with that guest account. It's dumb. It kind of says, hey, I don't trust you. But that's exactly the case. You don't want to trust that they're not going to click the link that you wouldn't click, As soon as that machine is out of your hands, it's out of your hands. Literally. And if you're on an account that has sudo privileges, and maybe you missed a 0 day on sudo. Well, your machine is now compromised. Have fun with that. Routine assessments. That's part of that wheel thing, and it is important. On the Homelab, generally speaking, you're going to be the only person with admin access, but with things like Kubernetes, a lot of times you're going to run a Helm chart and it's going to create an admin account. Does it always clean that up? Does it remove all of that? Go and validate that sort of stuff, and make a plan for when that validation happens. It's important. Password policy. I feel like the password policy is something that's going away. A lot of that because of zero trust. But as long as you have to put in input passwords, the password policy, and that's for yourself and for your lab. Obviously, you're not going to have the what's the term, production side of things where your parents or your significant other or your kids are going to be, hey, you have to use 17 characters and 3 specials. Little Timmy. I know you can't spell 7 yet, but that's how many special characters you're going to need. Expiration history. Account lockouts, not a bad idea. There's, especially on Linux servers, using something like fail to ban or something along those lines, where not only does it lock out, but it's going to let you know that hey, sudo just got accessed 4 times and failed. Let someone know. Screensavers and automatic logouts. Yeah, again, Homelab, but out in the real world, obviously. And this was one of the things that I always found interesting on a corporate setting. The place that I was at, each one of the groups started basically with full admin rights to their local machine. Then there was a big push to add additional security, and everybody was dropped to user. The super user account, which in Windows, I think it's called the power user account. There's middle ground. There's places that you can. I guess what I'm trying to say is make sure that usability is taken into account with security, because the moment that usability suffers, you're going to find people attempting to bypass your security. And, in a situation like a Homelab or your kids or whatever, cool, maybe they'll learn something. But professionally, that sucks. Configuring roles and access controls. Same. I mean, this is all just managing users, right? Making sure least privilege, all that sort of stuff. Updates and patches. I started with that, right? Like, make sure that you have a time frame. You know when it's going to happen. You know what's going to happen and why. And have a test environment when you're running patches. Even if that test environment's virtual, run the patch somewhere and see what breaks. It's amazing how often that stuff actually does break something. And that's why I'm running it in the lab, right? I'm not going to run it on my prod stuff until later tonight. Go away, banana. Anyone else playing banana? Jeeps. I mean, I shouldn't say playing. Anybody else have banana running in the background while they're doing other things? Because the click is a lie. Where was I? Here. Not used to having that open. And this is, a lot of this stuff is, what I've been doing with Waze. I've just been going through it and a checkbox, checklist. A more in-depth one than this, but gives you an idea. And they're using CIS benchmarks. Service configuration. Yeah, make sure you know what the services are, what services are running, why they're running, and what they're doing. It's a little bit more straightforward in Windows when you can just open the Service Manager pane and like scroll through, and it's got a description for each one. But to some degree or another, it's about getting that list of, you know, what's running and why. Did I actually get... Yeah, that looks like a whole lot, but did I do that right? Netstat's a good option to kind of give you an idea of what's running. This, I did TCP and UDP just to see like where exactly it's listening to. What is it? It's, I thought P, yeah, P is supposed to give you the process name. But I don't want the streams because a lot of those are going to be internal on Linux. Top. No, here. Man, that's that. So TCP, UDP, and numeric. Yeah, P is program. Where's the L? Some of these I just type because I've always typed it. Oh yeah, L is just what's listening. So instead of NLP, TULP. So Steam, DNS proxy, RPC, DNS stub domain. This is one thing that's been weird. The way that DNS is done and has been done in Linux is it's basically kind of running its own DNS server ish. Not a full one, but and then it reaches out to your DNS server. Steam language serve. Open lens. Local address, foreign address. It's listening on anything. That makes me wonder. Let's look at this from the other side. Just curious. So bid dev 1. Nope. All right, so I'm going to need my IP. And let's make sure. Oh, this might be a bad option. Because its firewall's probably blocking it. The downside of having a secure server, you can't use it to do whatever you want anymore. So let's look. So Steam says it's listening on the local address. Well, let's check Lens first. Lens K8's Pro. That's interesting. There we go. What about... Nope. Do I have Nmap installed? Nah. That'd be too easy. Nmap's another good tool for all of that. So yeah, understand the services that are running, why they're running, what you did to get them running. That sort of stuff, right? Rocket surgery. Logging and auditing. We went through, we were setting up audit D. Logging obviously is important. I do need to get a centralized log server. I'm probably, it's going to seem silly to do it this way, but I'm going to probably put it in the cluster. I don't doubt that Weza has the capability. Yeah, let's do it real quick. Let's check. I mean, it's probably just going to have to go to Logstash or something like Logstash, but yeah, come back. That's not what I want. Log collection. Collects, analyzes, and stores logs from endpoints. Okay, so it says it does it. I guess we just have to figure out which logs it's grabbing, right? But anyway, that's on our list of to do. Next down the line, logging and auditing. Auditing a lot of is just basically making sure that all of the things that you set up, usernames, that sort of stuff, stays the same. That's all Audit D does. Remote access, this is where you, well, remote access hardening and firewall configuration are fairly close. In that you can use the firewall to assist in hardening, but making sure SSH is properly configured, like we just did, make sure it's updated, make sure that there are patches applied that need to be applied, all of that fun stuff, right? Oh, that's just saying it's recording. If you have Windows RDP, if you have Mac OS, it's VNC or also SSH. Also making use of tunneling where you can. Like with Mac, it has VNC, but VNC itself is not the most secure option. Actually, one second, I just realized I wanted to check something. Oh, cool. I have turned on, or I added a plugin for closed captioning, and it is added on its own. That's nice. Anyway, squirrel. Where was I? Oh yeah, making use of tunneling. Like I said, if you have OpenSSH exposed to the worldwide internet, then you have a bunch of bots and scripts and what have you attempting to hit that on a daily basis, and there's just really no reason for it. You're getting weathered anyway. You're getting bad actors and good actors and just the web in general attempting to hit every single port on your router no matter what. And if it's open, that's going to double, triple, quadruple, and it is going to affect your internet capabilities. Even if they're not successful, it's basically a halfway DDoS, you know? So make use of tunnels, make use of other alternate ways in. I mentioned OpenVPN. Set up OpenVPN and set it up on some random port that doesn't make sense to a port scanner. And then use that and SSH from there. Put a tunnel through a tunnel. With Mac OS, I would pretty much always tunnel my VNC through SSH. It's just easier, especially as the clients get better at allowing that tunneling to happen automatically. There's no reason not to do it. So yeah, that goes into the hardening. Having things like where VNC just won't even listen on an external port. It'll only listen on 127, and you can only get there from SSH. Stuff like that to think about is worthwhile. And then the software configuration. Make sure all of the other stuff that you've got is configured properly. If you're gonna go and try and figure it out the right way. Stuff like SQL servers, databases, Postgres. Make sure that they're configured from a security mindset. It's harder, but it's more realistic, and it's better. At the end of the day, it's just better. When I set up my first SQL server, my first instinct was just admin everything. Just make it so that it'll work. And paring that back down and securing it was harder than just if I had done it in the first place, because I would be working within those boundaries from the beginning. My Postgres server is set up now so that every single database, every single piece of software that hits it has its own username, has its own password, has its own access rights to the database. And it's more workload up front, but on the back end, it's just so much easier. And then, things like web servers and that sort of thing. Same idea. Just try and do it right the first time. Generally speaking, you can go and let's see. If you go to, we'll just pick Nginx, which for the longest time I pronounced as Nginx. So there you go. I mean, you're going to find, again, it's going to come from a company. It's going to come from a company that's trying to sell you something. So there is going to be a little bit of wading through, hey, these guys, well, F5 is generally pretty good. But these guys are just trying to sell me a program that runs a script and does all this for me, whereas these guys are actually trying to show they're more interested in it being secure first, and then they'll sell you something to automate it when you have to do it 1 million times or 1.5 million. So yeah, anything that you're throwing in and you're trying to learn, start from that perspective. It's just a good idea, because hardening, as I keep saying, is not a dark art. It's not impossible. It's not even that difficult. It's a logical process of stepping through a list. And once you're done with that list, you've done what you can do. Then it's a matter of keeping an eye out for 0 days and patching. Access authentication and authorization. Generally, you don't have to worry about that in a Homelab. You're not granting other people access all that often. It's just you. There is something to be said for only using the elevated privileges when you need to. Uh, don't use sudo to edit things in your home directory. They're in your home directory. Edit them, move them where they need to go, and then give them the permissions that are needed there. I'm curious what they mean by cloud configuration, because I think this may just be an extension of everything up to this point, but in the cloud, there does seem to be a corporate need to have a bullet point for cloud, even though it's the exact same thing, but in the cloud. It is interesting that they call out NTP directly. NTP is actually more important than you would think. But with CIS is very touchy about NTP. They do NTP, Crony. There's like 3 different checks for that sort of thing. And you wouldn't have all 3 of them configured. At least I don't think so. I could be missing something. And that's why I proclaim that I am wrong, or no, that I am right on the internet, so that someone will step forward and say, no, you're not. Because that's how you learn. And see, the best thing about this is that, well, yes, this list is light. You know, it's not going through and giving you a check each one of these individual little things. It is a good reminder. It's something that if you don't have an internal kind of, this is my checklist, you can grab this. You can print it out, set it down next to you, and when you're setting up something for your home lab, just run through it. It's a first step. And the first step is always the most important, right? IP rip authentication mode. This is all Cisco stuff. Actually, I should be doing that on my Switch. Come to think of it, see? Something I hadn't even thought about. So it's just one of those, you got to go through iOS and do all of these things. And firewall configuration, which, if you've been paying attention for the last, month, that's what I've been doing. And then this is all, their sort of stuff. Could be interesting just to run that. I think I may have seen, let's see. SimCore. And it's going to be, this is a little out of character for me in that this is purely not an open source platform. And that's okay. I'm not using it for their software. I'm using it for the checklist. And, maybe if they get a little bit of Homelab love and a lot of people signing up and asking for that checklist and putting in that their business is a home lab, maybe they'll say, hey, this is something we want to look at. I doubt it, but what if, let's see. What about CIS? Now, the CIS benchmarks are nice. Have I downloaded one of those already? I mean, I know I have. I may have deleted it though. Oh yeah, I think we've actually talked about this one. I mean, this is the Debian benchmark. Where are you? I need to make sure it's still in downloads. I need to get it out of downloads. One of the best things you can do for yourself, make your downloads folder auto delete. Just trust me on this one. Figure out how to do it with your operating system. I use apt. It checks every night. Anything older than 7 days deletes it. Or not apt. I use cron. Apt. Do yourself that favor. Set up a cron job. Set up a PowerShell. Set up something so that every night it just looks for old files and downloads and it deletes them. It makes it so that your downloads folder is no longer a storage center, and it also makes you want to get those things, review them, and put them somewhere where if it's important, you're going to be able to find it again. And notice this one, June 26th. It's right on the edge. 26th. It's going to be deleted tonight. So let's save that somewhere nice. And documents, I should have something for we'll just put it in here in my learning folder. Maybe I just call you security docs. I'm going to copy you over there. I'm going to copy you over there. But I mean, this is 1,000 pages. This is not where you want to start. This you don't want this to be your first manual checklist. If you're using something like Weza and it will automatically go through it for you, cool. But you do not want something like that to be your first checklist. The reason I have it is so that I can double check what Weza says, because it is a vendor. The script that they wrote didn't come from CIS. It's based on it, and it claims it's based off of 1.0, and 2.0 is the most current. So there's some adjustments to be made in there, and it gives you the ability to make those adjustments. Ooh, I'm going through the water today. Gonna need some more of that. All right, so checklists. Yeah. How fun is that? With that being said, what is the plan for today? Something I do want to start doing is I need to go back to my Redmine instance, and I need to make sure that I start going through these issues, and if it's a short term, maybe I just get it done, right? Like, because pretty much anytime I think about something, I just kind of chuck it in here. We will come back to that, however, in 1 second. And we're back. So yeah, let's look at this, because this is a bit much. It's all well and good to try and keep track of stuff, but if you do nothing about it, then what's the point, right? Homepage actually exists. Are there any issues? Just software general. Interesting. Why then? Where's homepage? Here. I already researched you. So actually we can close this one. All right. I mean, I've already added it to software. It's locked. Oh, nope. We are. I'm going to set you to closed, and so here's what I decided on homepage, at least for my use case. I keep going back to Homar. Homar has its issues, especially in Kubernetes and is part of a cluster, but the ability to edit directly in the application is a win for me. Having to go into homepage and modify its configuration to get things into it, it's less than ideal. It is kind of cool that you can add a tag to a pod or to a deployment, and as it starts up, it will add it. But then you have to go back in and kind of configure where it's at. So all of those reasons, homepage, you've been voted off the island. And everything I just said, I'm going to be typing. Rather than modifying in the app is too time consuming. I will just call it that. You know what I need for anything that's in the software? I should have a verdict. So you know what? I'm going to leave this here. Let's go to administration. And I believe that is a tracker. No. I just have to do, I think I just have to do custom fields, right? Priorities, activities, categories. I might need a new enumeration. Can I create a new enumeration? What would this be? Maybe custom fields. Well, let's do this. New custom field. The type of object is going to be attached to, yeah, it'll be attached to issues. And I think we'll have to have it be a list. Maybe we'll call it verdict. It is going to be searchable. Possible values is we're going to say we're going to have a couple. It's probably a good idea to outline exactly why we decline rather than having to go into the notes for all of the decline, because it's some projects just aren't going to be ready, right? And some projects are just going to be more time than I want to deal with right now. Maybe that'll change in the future. So let's see. Not maybe incomplete. Decline. Complexity. Decline. Time. Not suitable. And then probably just accept. And if it's accept, then I need to add it to a tracker. Or I need to add it to software. And we have to have a space. Default value is space. Drop-down list. I'm not sure what the link values to URL means. I wish there was a required for close. All right, so now let's go back over there. Software general. And now verdict, we can say declined, complexity. See above. I'm sure this is riveting. Renovate bot, what are you? Oh, this was one of my followers told me about this one, I think. There we go. You. Womp. You know, this is probably something that I should be researching these and then say, this is what we're doing today, which is probably why I have so many of these. This is actually still happening, funny enough. It's rare, but it happens. I think though the only time it happens is when it changes machines, because by default Yeah, I set this to resolved because I was moving to homepage. Nope, that's not true. We're going to go back to in progress. We're going to put this prod services. Where's my verdict? Oh, because it's a bug. Cool. Are you still in progress, though? Did I forget to switch you to closed? Yeah, looks like it. We'll probably shit can. Removing install namespace, maybe revisit. So we can edit this guy. Verdict. Decline in this case, we're going to say incomplete based on what I saw. And I don't have any new notes to add, so we'll just call it that. Oops, I left it as in progress though. This is getting this to feel a lot like Remedy. If you've ever used Remedy, I mean, on the plus side, at least it's not erroring because I didn't fill out 10,000 fields, right? But I could have it do that. I could make it do that. So if I really wanted to be hard on myself, I could make this act like Remedy, and it would be so much fun for everybody watching, wouldn't it? Where is... Oh yeah, that was this. I've just kicked this can around all over the place. You're browsing the documentation. Okay. Let's just see. Well, actually, what am I doing? Why don't I just go to Security Onion? This was something I definitely wanted to try. The architecture of Security Onion. Actually, no. Let's take a step back. This was something I ran across. A lot of times, what'll happen is I'll just be scrolling across on my phone, and I'll just see something interesting, and I'll go, "Oh, that's cool," and then I'll open a tab, and then I keep those tabs open, and yeah, I have over 100 tabs open. And then slowly but surely I transfer them here, I read about it, I try it, and that is how I currently live my life. And this is one of those things. I need to make it so that my tabs on my phone will auto delete after 7 days, don't you think? Oh, it's not probably Ansible. This is cleaning up future software research. and chatting, hopefully. This is one of the interesting things. There's two things I still really want to do. I want to put a couple of boxes outside of my firewall. I want to have one be a honeypot, and I want to have one just be a Bastion server. And I want that Bastion server to be set up so that it can get behind another firewall into another network, and then that network to have a machine in it that's the only way to get to tunnel into my main network, so that I can do a couple of hops, and to just have those set up in a way that anything that's attempted on them is logged and sent to me. Because, well, I just think that'll be really interesting at the end of the day. I do want to set up a honeypot inside my main network too, for the same reason. You know, if I have a machine that's attempting to SSH into my honeypot, that's weird, right? I mean, as it stands, I get probably about 2 notifications a day about network intrusion attempts. And this is one of the things that you have to understand when you work in security. You are going to get false positives. It's going to happen. There is no reason not to follow up on it. You should always check it, but it's going to happen. And for whatever reason, Unify sees certain activities from iPhones as intrusion threats. Very specifically, whenever my significant other is on a WhatsApp call, there is a blocked attempt from an IP that always turns out to be an Apple-owned IP. But I mean, why is an Apple IP getting involved with a WhatsApp call? I'm sure it's got something to do with the way their app store does security. I've never bothered to capture the packets because honestly, there's kind of a boundary there between privacy and security, right? So yeah, just things to think about. You will get false positives. There's no reason not to check them. I mean, on my cameras, I get false positives every day. I probably 70% of the notifications I get on my cameras are cats. And you know what? I love watching them run around my backyard. They're not my cats. But I have a cat surveillance network. All right, so Security Onion is a free and open platform built by defenders for defenders. It includes network visibility, host visibility, intrusion detection, honeypots, log management, and case management. All documentation. Okay, this is all information about the documentation. So let's look at the first time users portion. All right, so this may not work as a container, which is fine. Actually, maybe better. Download ISO. If you're creating a bootable USB from the ISO, no, we're not doing that. Well, we might, but all right. I'm gonna grab this because this is part of our research. There's our docs. Let's edit you. We're gonna put you to in progress. You don't get a software tag. You don't get a namespace. Oops, caps lock. We're gonna say what? It is not a containerization candidate. Maybe here's to not be. Which means, hey, maybe I put it on this. We shall see. But it's in progress. We're working on it. We're going to set you aside. And download. See how long it thinks that's going to take. Yes, I downloaded jQuery. Deal with it. I don't know why. No, I do know why. That little this one. That clock is working. I don't know if that shows up. Oh yeah. It is. Cool. Let's transfer back. I think I need to add music to that. We'll figure it out. It needs its own music though. Well, we'll see. I mean, if people actually like it, if I cut a short out of it and it makes sense, then cool. We want a new virtual machine. We're going to use local ISO. Well, actually, we'll just minimize that for now. If this finishes in a timely manner, and it should be finishing soon. It says it's resuming now. Let's edit this, and we want to say we downloaded let's say that we put it in the ASO directory. Well, we didn't do that part, but don't tell the boss. So while that's downloading, let's hop back here. The Screep server, I don't know if that's a feature. Well, it is a feature. Let's actually, nope, go back. Let's change our filters here. We want the tracker to be research. Like, we got Waze here under research still, and that's basically decision. We've got that running. So let's edit you and say verdict is accept. You're not in here yet. So I can't make you complete. You're in progress. So my next step is to do that. We'll submit. Now let's go over to administration and add to the software list. Make sure it's not there. I'm not crazy. Well, I don't know if research should have the software list, because that should be the final step, is adding it to the software list. So maybe I do that, because now it's in there. And we can go back to software general. And we go to you. Oh, and downloaded. And we're closing the research task. Status closed. Accept. We will have to add the namespace for it. That's still a thing. So it's still in progress. Add it to software list because I think actually right now I have 2 because of my own silliness. I really want to put it in monitoring, but actually, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Let me explain what that is. So what I've got is, leave. In my custom fields, namespace. The idea here was to keep track of what namespace I was putting stuff in, because there is a certain amount of, I have prod services, I have dev services. There is some software that needs to be outside of that. For that, instead of, well, I'll leave custom, but what I want is name of software and to say that it's in something that's just named itself, and then I have it and a dev version of it. Technically, I do not currently have a dev version of Wayza. I have a dev version, I have a dev namespace. Now, one thing that is different is I have all of these specific softwares. Like once something is actually up and running, I need to create a project for it because I'm tracking just that. So let's do it. Subproject of Homelab. You know what? I'm going to do this differently. I think I'm going to try this. And then if I go back to my projects, so I have software, and then I want to put say general. Make you a subproject of software. And then back here, that's not what I want. Come on. Okay. And then here, I feel like I'm undoing something that I did, but what I want to do is figure out how to make this list less confusing. Because like technically Kubernetes is just software, right? And this is just software that's running on that software. But that doesn't matter. We'll see. We'll see if this makes sense long term, right? I can spend forever just transferring stuff around, reorganizing. I think I enjoy that too much. But now when I go to projects, I can, oh, I can't minimize. And the fact that they all say software. Well, whatever. My goal is actually to make a new one. Solve project of. You're not gonna need documents. You don't need news or a calendar or forums. Time tracking, sure. Repository, no. Gantt, no. I'm gonna leave files and wiki for now. And tasks on Weza. Like, one of the things I've still got to do there is or do I? No. Okay. I don't. I thought I needed to update its certificate, but no, that's handled. Here. Let's go back to projects. Let's go back to software general, and let's go to issues. And now we can say we've created it. Software project created. Closing research task. Because Weza is going to live in the lab. And I forgot to actually close it again. All right. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. I need to... I am still really... One of the things that I was hoping that this would do is help me organize my thoughts and organize what I'm working on. But I wish that there was some way to automate how this happens. Actually, here, let me lay it out for me. Here would be my perfect task management. I need a drawer. I don't want to use that. Are you going to run? Sure, we'll open that again. Say new. All right. So let's zoom in a little bit. So in my perfect world, I would have a server here. No, come on. Just let me paint in black. There we go. I would have a server here, and this server would get inputs. I would have notes. I would have, well, actually, no. I would have, see, this is important. If you sit down and lay out what you think you want, you start realizing, no, that doesn't make sense. All right, so I want a notepad type app where I can write things in. And I have the categories of task. I have a category of read, research, and then I have a category of procure, buy, whatever, right? So this note how do I lower the size? Oh, there we go. So I could have a note that'll be each one of these things. When I make that note, the note being created is the first step that goes to this server, which basically is just it's an activity tracker. So we have, boom. This is weird. Note created. And then depending on what type of note it is, if it's a procure, okay, this is more than I want to deal with. Maybe I should have just used GIMP. Yeah, let's just use GIMP. Boom, let's set you to black. Okay. All right, so we have note taking app. And then we have no, I don't want an angle. I want a square. Yeah, do a circle. Why you no paint? Is this going to be my downfall? Boy. What your deal is? Oh. So bink, 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 right? We have a task for research. Let's make you 50. Let's make all of you 50. And then we have a task for procure. I didn't like that at all. Procure 50. What was it? It was research, procure, create. Yeah, that works. All right, so let's go back here. So basically we have those three options of what type of note it is. Is it something I got to research? Is it something I got to buy? Or is it something I've got to make? If it's something I have to make, it can have two split offs, which are going to be either procure or build. But no matter what, you have to procure either tools, you have to procure hardware. With create, you have to procure as well. So create automatically creates a task this is the brainstorming process. So if I have a note that says I need to create something, how do I know? Have I researched it? All right, let's step back. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so you create a note. What's your note? What's your idea? Your note is a concept, right? Your note is a thing that you want done. So we'll just make this the note. We'll go to boom, 50. All right, and then the task manager recognizes that, hey, a note got created. What is in this note? Is this note, maybe that's a better way of looking at it. Is the note an idea? Is the note a want? Or is the note a need? Ah. Whatever. Okay. Like here, I need something to draw this out better. Is this a idea? So we have an idea. Boom. Why does it keep defaulting to that? Is that, it's my fault. Of course it's my fault. Who else's fault would it be? All right, so idea, want, need. And then we have to expand on each of these, no matter what, right? So then we have, from the idea, is this, well, no matter what, is it a, what your deal is? Dum, dum, dum. This just is not working out in my head like I thought it was going to. But hey, if you want polished and researched presentation where nothing ever goes wrong, boy, have you come to the wrong place. All right, so let me clear this out. Okay, let's start over. Let's just drop this size down to say 10. What is our idea flow? So for me, an idea comes into my brain and I want to get it out. What do I want out of that idea? I want the idea to I want the idea into a note. Yeah. 101. No. Ooh, that'll work. Yeah, there we go. All right, so get the idea on paper. Track that I created an idea. Wow, look at that. That's my handwriting. Oh, yeah. All right. Nope. And all right, so let's look at that. If we track when an idea is created, then comes the next step. What do you act? How do you act on that, right? Can you track acting on that idea? Do you? Do you bother? So maybe that's where it comes into is this an idea that makes sense? I mean, that's where we're at with this right now, right? Does this make sense? And this is something that if you have a list of your ideas, then later you can go back and curate it. I should have done this the other way. Boom, 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 boom. Because if the idea doesn't make sense, there's only one thing you can do. And that is, wonk, go make a new idea. Iterate. If the idea makes sense, then is it possible? That's where the research comes in. And again, yes, no. Oop. No. Jumps on the iterate train. Yes. All right. Now we get to where I was at, which is build or buy. They both start with B. Oops. Build, buy. And all of this should be in this. This should all be in Redmine, basically, or something like it, you know? So that I can look at it and say, this is where I am in this idea. If it's buy, then I set goal. Set a goal, right? If it's build, do I need to learn? Or can I just do it? Basically, what's my time expenditure? Is my time X, or is my time X times X plus 1, or X plus learn? And that, I think, is basically my perfect project management software. An unlimited number of projects coming in, and at the end of the day, the ability to just say, nope, 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 sure, nope, nope, nope. And that's kind of what I'm using this for. And that's kind of what we're doing right now, I guess. It's not as, I guess, this kind of waterfall-y as I would like. Like this one, Cloud Native PG. Alert subject, alert message. What's it do? Why is it there? Yeah, so this is something I have researched this a little bit, and I'm still, in my mind, I'm still stuck on the idea that while Kubernetes can handle stateful sets, it has a whole thing that's dedicated to that. The reality is that that's not what it's designed to do. So in my mind, currently, I can set this to decline as not suitable, but it is kind of a temporary not suitable in my mind. I would still like to have my databases be on the cluster, or at least more cluster adjacent, as opposed to being out on my storage server. Because honestly, I think I would like to do a database cluster as well. You know what I mean? And if I've already got a cluster, putting a database cluster on a cluster kind of makes sense. And I think that that's kind of the basic idea of this, is that it's trying to run a database, in this case Postgres, as a daemon on the cluster. So that means there's going to be one on every device, on every node, and then it should handle load balancing intelligently, right? But this is definitely a comeback to. I think I can get rid of determine need up here, though. Currently, seems to give. And see, this is a situation where I would like to just have a little checkbox that says, hey, switch this back to new in 6 months, in a year, because it's not done. It's just done for now. Or, you know, I just leave it open because that's what I keep doing. Oh, that download finished. Let's copy it over real quick. sure we have a copy of it on ISO. No. Or a new window, not a new folder. $12 gigs, holy cow. Oh, come on. You. Goodbye. No advertisement bots allowed. Do you want to advertise? Then maybe hang out. Maybe offer something that's useful, not just to me, but to anybody else who might be interested in home labbing. I'm gonna have to wait for that to copy. I can't believe that's 12 gigs. I mean, it does say it does a lot of stuff though. Alright, here we go. Well, there's nothing new to add there because we're copying it over. We're doing the second part of what we said we already did. I think I did look at Pixie observability, and I don't have... Oh, there it is. This looked like it was going to be more complex than I wanted to deal with. Without changing code. Let's look at the get started real quick. And I'm going to throw this in here. We're going to say your status is now in progress. All right. You want to deploy Pixie without needing to host your own version. We need self-hosted. Well, I mean, generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of the idea of throwing something up in the cloud, but at least it has that as an option. I did actually try out another piece of software that just sent all of the instrumentation up to the cloud, and it was kind of cool. At the end of the day, I didn't like having all of that sent up there, right? But tis what tis. Sometimes it feels like, oh, I'm just copying and pasting their documentation into my documentation. That's part of it. AKS, EKS, GKE, OKE, OpenShift, KOps, self-hosted. I guess it's kind of KOs. What is KOs? I mean, it's K8s that I'm running, but what is KOs? A project I've never heard of. Great. One more thing to look into. Wait, what happened? Oh, they're over here. If you already have Operator Lifecycle Manager deployed. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to 4. Cluster capabilities. AWS, Azure, IBM. I had something hanging off my nose this entire time. Where were you on that, chat? Installing an on-premise cluster with the agent-based installer. I don't want to install open. Wait, what? Why did it take me to OpenShift? And why did it take me that long to realize that? Let's try that again. Determine if you already have OLM. Open a new tab. Okay, so that took me here. The following customer resources are defined by the OLM: customer service version, catalog, and operator group. Let's see what we got. But how would that show up? Because that's not how. Set of target namespaces, OLM dot. Okay. I don't think I have an OLM. Okay, so yeah. That's where it starts getting interesting. This is the portion that I have to research more. But for now, verdict decline is complexity. Does not use OLM. And I don't want to investigate further. And this time we will switch you to closed. Done. Chipping away, chipping away. What is any type? Any type IO. Oh, I think this is one of those types between maybe not. It's an app? Wait, what? I wanted to just fall at your feet and what? Is there a what is any type? A safe place to create, collaborate, and community build. Oh, I think this is something that could be kind of cool, I think. This would be the sort of thing that I would set up. It's kind of, I think it's kind of like a Discord. So let's go back to get the app. Other platforms. Mac, Linux. Let's see what it looks like on a phone, huh? This is where I kind of wish I had that I have bothered to set up a screen sharing on my phone. Local first internet for those who celebrate trust and autonomy. This definitely still needs some more research, but I should be updating this. This is a private public internet, because I think you can just do a web page too. So Discord, calendar, oh, S. Like, why did that look wrong? Part of the difficulty of this for me, though, would be I would need a box outside of my firewall first, because I'm not going to run that on my cluster. Switch you to in progress. What else can we do on this? Families. Personal. I mean, this is almost definitely something I'm going to try and screw around with. But it falls in the when I screw around with it thing, right? On that note, with that one completed, I think I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to install Security Onion in a VM. We'll poke around, I'll take some notes, and we'll see. Burb. And we're back. All right. So let's do this. Local. We're just going to pull it from the downloads. Oh, wait. Why doesn't it have that there? Interesting. That's not what I want. I don't want a storage pool. Default. ISO cache. Mount extra. Okay. Fine, I'll copy it over there too. Oh wait, I'll just do this. Downloads. There's some stuff that's older than it should be. I wonder why it hasn't been deleted. You must select an OS. Okay, fine. We're just going to say, let's do Gen 2. Emulator may not have. Sure. Create a disk image that's smaller than the ISO. No. Let's just go 40. And we'll see what we get. Yeah, we want to do the full desktop. Why not? No, point does not exist. Great. I must have done something with my virtual machine software on this and forgot about it. Track pre-cut. Track cut pre-trigger. Let's see what that is. Clip open. Failed to start switch root. All right, this is unrelated. You are KVM. That's not what I need. Shut down. Force off. That's better. All right, let's see that again. Oh, it probably ejected it. Force off. Boot options. Would you like to apply them? Yes. Looks like it starts. Maybe install in basic graphics. Let's try that. See what happens. Well, it's a different one. Failed to connect LOD pad. Oh, we should probably say that it's KVM. On the KVM, stop and restart. Link layer discovery protocol. Okay. Come on. You. Sudo bang bang it. All right, well, that would definitely be part of it, huh? Let's try that route. Nothing auto-completed. So then, yeah, it would definitely have a problem with that. I think this has something to do, if I had to guess, this has something to do with my network switch. Oh no, it's saying no space on device. That's where it started. All right, let's force you off again. Well, extra KVM. Let's take a look. I mean, it's possible that I just tried to give it too much space. No, it says I have 160 free there. You have 70, and you're definitely fine. So no, there is space. Maybe 40 gig just isn't enough for it. Let me get ready and try again. Actually, let's go back to Security Onion. This it? Yeah. Best practices. What's needed here? Hardware requirements. Standalone. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe there isn't enough space. We do not support ARM. Okay. So, what this tells me is that's why I'm not using this. And basically I would need to use one of my Mac Minis for this. And preferably something bigger than just a Mac Mini. Okay. So, hey, we know. We can close this window. We can go back here. Security onion. We can delete and delete all associated files. Give you a close. And this is why we do it, right? Verdict. We're going to say, we have a new reason for decline. So let's go back over there. I think decline will just be hardware expense. That's probably what we'll have to do. Because we should have decline hardware. Yeah. I mean, if I end up with some spare hardware, okay, revisit, right? Anything I put down as that sort of decline, then cool. General issues. And we can go to closed and we can say hardware expense. Sweet. Just rolling down the line. AWX I did look into. This one's still firmly in the revisit category though, so what's Task Cafe? That looks interesting. Oh, is it just a Kanban board? An open source project management tool. Personal projects. You'll need both Docker and Docker Compose. We can clone the repo. It wants Postgres. That's nice. I don't think I want to do it from source. No, thank you. Current plan is to build the basic features. Yeah, it looks like they stopped building. Is there... Wait a minute. Oh, sorry, I see Dependabot and I think of something else immediately. Let me go back to master. Redesign. It looks like about 2 years ago they got started on a redesign and then said, I don't know how I feel about this. 3 years ago. My current personal project is... Yeah, they haven't made a commit since 22. All right. We're going to call that unsuitable just because it's not moving forward at all. Stick with incomplete. And again, this is one where, 6 months, a year from now, get a notification, go check. Did I? I did. I left it as new. There we go. So Joplin is a note-taking app that always comes up. This might be one that I just don't want to deal with right now. Let's bring that up real quick for anyone who's not familiar with Joplin. Can we just go to Joplin app? Yeah, there we go. So, I mean, it's a pretty standard note-taking app, and the idea is that you can use your own server. I think one of the situations with your own server, though, is that you have to go through the cloud still, if I remember right. Let's Joplin app. I had a needlessly difficult time setting it up. Maybe add that. What were the questions? Copy the environment sample. This seems like some people that don't really want to deal with a container. Latest beta. Okay. It's only required if Joplin server needs to be accessible over the internet. Migrating. I wonder if there's anything that, or actually, if something already exists, it would be a Helm chart, and it would be probably by Bitnami. So let's see what they got. Well, there you go. A library Helm chart for grouping common logic between Bitnami charts. Yes, this is one of those things where I can get sidetracked just scrolling through and seeing what Bitnami offers. Like, I'm considering deploying another one of these on Dev Mini 1 and taking the Raspberry Pi out of the mix. Grafana Loki. Yeah, anyway, squirrel. Let me put this away for now. I wonder if anyone else has done Joplin on. Well, there we go. K8 at home. What is this? Let's see. K8's at home community. Hey. This will be a group that I'll be following. Our friends at Raspbernettes. Well, 1,500 people online. There we go. See, and I can just go pow. I can say, I want to add a tile. It's going to be an app. It's going to be this. I can change the icon in here if I want to. Drop you down there. Lock and done. Easy peasy. And unlike homepage, it's there. I'm done. Where's my red mine? Red mine? Red mine. Okay. So let me go. Some of these are kind of interesting, like Heimdall as a helm chart. Okay. See, I ran into this. I don't like the idea of doing it as a helm chart still, but it's using library charts. Oh, okay, so that's just where they're at. That's fine. It's another one of those I'll just start scrolling through. Looks and smells like sonar, but made for music. See, this would be weird to me. I've kind of considered the possibility of having Octoprint that connects to other Octoprints. But it requires a USB. Right now, it requires a USB connection for most things. So I don't know. I don't know how that would make sense. Is there something in here that kind of explains it? Nope. Let me start closing some of these. I think I'm going to put Joplin firmly in the 8 months, still researching. You're not new anymore. A little long in the tooth, as a matter of fact. Found a helm chart. Here. But if you know me, you know I'm not a huge fan of running helm charts. But at least it's something that I can look at, I can break down, and I can say, okay, here's what they're doing, and how can I copy it? Research ongoing. What's next? Forge Joe. What's Forge Joe? See, some of these, I throw a link in here and it's like, okay, I'm done. Beyond coding, we forge. Oh, actually, no, this is kind of cool. So this is... the one thing that I didn't do, or why I didn't do this, is it doesn't use let's do a try now. Why not? This looks suspiciously like Gatia's main page. This is Gatia's main page. So what? For testing only, all data can be wiped. A painless self-hosted Gitser. Okay, so yeah, this is Gitia. How is this not? What are the differences between this and Gitia? Forge Joe relies on end-to-end and upgrade tests. The upgrade tests were introduced. Let's look at this. I thought it was an IDE. So it is a fork of it. Future will tell. Gatia now has both motive and opportunity to follow GitLab and paywall features. Although they haven't. Okay. Okay. It's trying to be the Gatia that Gatia promised it would be. Cool. Okay, so it's just a fork. So I think for now, I'm gonna have to put it down as Gatia is working just fine for me. There's no reason to update. And I'll just decline for time. And leave it as new again, like an idiot. Closed. McDocs. Project documentation. Oh, this is another note-taking app. See, I think maybe I need to have a category of why I'm looking at these things. Pip install, okay. Is there an option to export? Okay, then it's build, and then it's just there. I don't know that I need this, though. Like, it's kind of cool. Okay. But doesn't really match up with my project's style. I think keeping the documentation in Git is fine for now. It's really weird seeing what I say pop up in my closed caption area. I like it, but it's weird. I wonder if this will export when I export the video. We'll see. I'm gonna have to check and see if this flaky cab person's message showed up in my video too. It's just annoying. Where are we? Boom. Could come in handy. No. Did I leave it as... I left it as new. There's got to be a way to make it so that so I can just set it to closed and that's it. I'm done. Right? I have looked into Cloudflare tunnels. And it's actually a cool, if you're a Homelabber, it is kind of cool. Ah, where'd you go? That's not it. There we go. I do, if I remember right, I think they started adding... Oh, 50 users. That's not bad still. This might still be something like right now. The only thing I'm running that actually has an app that would make use of this is probably Redmine, and I haven't found an app that I enjoy yet, to the point where I was actually actively working on rewriting an open source app that I found that hasn't been modified in a long time. But I'm still like, does it hold all my stuff? Yes. Does it do it well? But everything like this is moving into the cloud, and it's just an app that you can install and, you know, pay a monthly fee to a cloud vendor. I'm not a fan of that. Obviously, I'm running a Homelab. Why would I want to run my Homelab somewhere else? Well, that's not true. There's nothing the matter with it, but it's just not what I want to do. So this, I'm going to put you in progress, but probably not suitable for now. It is something, however, if I do the the private internet thing, that could be useful. This could be something that I could tie those together, and that'd be kind of nice. And I think, you know what? I think with that, I'm going to call today a day. Done a lot of poking around at various software. Technically got a lot done, but not a whole lot of interesting stuff done. I think the first hour was probably the most dense portion of this stream that I've probably ever had. Hopefully, if you've got a home server and you haven't updated it yet, you've seen something that makes you go, hey, let me figure out how to secure this. Let me figure out how to do this just a little bit better. Yeah, it's been fun. And hopefully, I will see everyone tomorrow for more hijinks. Who knows what I might get up to. I'm probably going to do a little bit of reading on one of these, and maybe we'll make a whole project out of just one of them. Maybe not. We'll find out. Till then, talk to you later, guys, gals, everyone in between.